Morning. I'm Darrell Bennett. I wanted to share this morning something that I was listening to from the book of Judges. Um, there's this place in the scripture where Gideon, the great one who would go on to deliver Israel out of the hands of the Amalekites in the book of Judges. Well, he's randomly threshing wheat one day, and an angel appears to him and says, "Oh, Gideon, mighty man of valor." And Gideon's response is quite interesting. He doesn't seem to get excited. In fact, he seems to have a little bit of an attitude, and I can understand what he says back. He says, he doesn't even speak to what the angel said, which was, "Oh, Gideon, great man of valor." He says, "If the Lord is for us, why has all this befallen us?" And then he goes on to say, "Where is the God of our fathers?" Because remember, this comes after Exodus. This comes after the children of Israel were taken out of Egypt. And here they are, have found themselves in bondage again. And that's a whole message in itself, that how many times did we think we got delivered from something only to make poor choices and find ourselves in a different situation, but with the same bondage, if that makes sense. And so Gideon is basically saying, if God is really with us, why are we having all these problems? He sees no tangible connection between traditional religion, right, and where we are now. And this is interesting because though he says this thousands and thousands of years ago, this is where many people in my generation, millennials, and certainly the next generation, Generation Zers, are today. Churches are increasingly finding a problem getting people to come because folks, we have not made a tangible connection between the God of our fathers and where we are now, because we've preached a God that did stuff before, but not a God that is present and here and now, and I am that I am. And so Gideon, I appreciate Gideon's response. I mean, Gideon is not some holy roller. Gideon is pretty much like, I don't want to hear that I'm a man of valor, and I don't want to hear your sermon. I'm not here to read another one of your scriptures. I got a bone to pick with you since you showed up, and I need to know, why is all this befalling me? Why is all this stuff happening if God is really with us? And I would say that when I go and I speak, particularly on what God means to me and the message of Christ to me, I do get people who come up and say, well, how did slavery happen if God was really for us? And look at all the stuff going on around us. And there are people who are angry, as you already know, I don't have to tell you, and have blamed God for every bad deed that has happened in the world. And I don't want to spend a lot of time digging into that this morning. I will give you a preview of what I'll discuss at a later point, which is that God is so great to us that he's given us free choice. And that free choice sometimes has allowed us to hurt one another. So sometimes we have a tendency to blame God for something he had nothing to do. Well, God could have stopped it. Yeah, but God didn't create robots. And so in giving us free will, he also